psychologically true about atonement? We were taught that Jesus died for our sins based on this idea of atonement, or that somebody else can pay for the sins of other people. For the first time, after going to church basically my entire life, I considered the idea that God sent his Son to earth to suffer and die for our sins. Why? I mean, first of all, you can say that Jesus suffered, but he didn't suffer any more than a lot of people have suffered. I could think of examples in my own family. My brother Mike, who had cancer, he suffered unspeakably for a very long time. Eyelids freezing open and his eyes drying up, canker sores all over his throat and he couldn't swallow, weeks and then months of gut-wrenching vomiting and nausea before he finally died. So, okay, Jesus suffered. I mean, he apparently suffered terribly for 1, maybe even 2 days. I heard someone say once, Jesus had a really bad weekend for our sins. I thought, why would a God create people so imperfect, then blame them for their own imperfections? Aha, then send his Son to be tortured and then murdered by those imperfect people to make up for how imperfect people were and how imperfect they inevitably were going to be. I mean, what a crazy idea. I looked at the crucifix, and for the first time, instead of seeing a symbol of transcendence and compassion, I saw a horrible execution device. What kind of God sends his Son to be tortured and killed like that? Oh, I guess it is the God of the Old Testament. That's exactly who would do something like that. But then, when I looked at Jesus as just a guy, just a human, just an impassioned young idealist who, sure, lost his temper a lot, but who could also go on teary-eyed about loving your neighbor and helping the poor. And because his ideas were so outspoken, it threatened those in power who ordered him to be tortured and then killed. And then reading how Jesus died, astonished and heartbroken that his own God abandoned him. His story became so tragic. Jesus' life and death made me want to go out and campaign for free speech, not sit in a church and worship him.